I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Hope we got some things done today, right? An opportunity to exhale for just a second, but we're going to dive right back into it. It is the case that obviously everyone is talking about. You see it whether you're on social media or you're just going to the store and talking to a friend. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone is trying to figure out what the truth is in this whole thing. Now, this is a trial, so like every trial and every witness, when they take the witness stand, they take an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And Amber Heard took that oath. She's up on the stand, and she told her story. Hasn't been cross-examined yet. This week is the countdown to the cross-examination of Amber Heard, which should begin about a week from today. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, she has told her story. And, you know, that story came after she took the oath. Well, Johnny Depp took the same oath, but had a much different story. You think about what we're hearing here is Johnny Depp is you know, I never hit a woman. I would never do that. I'm the victim here. Amber Heard, Johnny's out of control. Johnny is totally out of control. We're talking about criminal attacks that she's describing. And Johnny Depp saying, well, my finger, how do you think I lost my finger? I didn't do it to myself. She did it to me. So now you've got the jury, and the job of this jury is they've got to figure out how to spot a liar. And they're not trained professionals. They're like regular folks like us, right? I mean, you listen to testimony, you take a look at some of the corroborating evidence. If it does or doesn't, does it have the ring of truth to you? Are they consistent in what they are saying about what happened? Does it make sense? And how does one story versus the other story, is there any sort of common denominators where, okay, well, maybe that's where the truth is, and then we kind of figure it out from there? I don't know. This is going to be a tough job for this jury to figure out the truth, but that's their job. And to figure out the truth, you've got to figure out who's lying, who's being deceptive on the witness stand. So what we're going to do for you tonight is we're going to bring in a pro to take a look and a listen to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. They both testified. We're going to take some of their testimony, and then, you know, a lot of times you can see the reaction to that testimony could be as revealing as the testimony itself. But I don't know. I'm not the professional. Let's bring in our expert. Joining us tonight from Orlando, Florida, human behavior expert, Susan Constantine, back. Great to see you, Susan.
Hey there, Vinny. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, let's do it this way, and I think this will be the best way to do it for the folks who are watching at home. Is I'll play a piece of testimony. Some of it we'll see just the person testifying. Sometimes we'll see the person testifying, and we'll see the other person reacting or listening to the testimony. You know, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So let's begin with Johnny Depp, who's the plaintiff in all of this. And I want to take this is a key statement that he makes right towards the beginning of his testimony. And if the jury believes this, there's a good chance he could win this whole thing. Let's take a listen.
There were arguments and things of that nature, but never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
It's a simple statement. Susan, what are you seeing? What are you hearing in the way he delivers that significant testimony to this jury?
Yes. First of all, he's being truthful. And I'm watching his eyes. They go up, they go side, they go back down. What he's doing, processing all of those experiences that he had, recall those conversations that he had. We also got to process. You can see that the stress, this is a very serious moment You can also see in his jawline and around his mouth the seriousness of what he's talking about. He really is in that moment, and everything is in sync. So what I'm looking at is he's talking, is his body language and facial expressions in sync with his words? Is the timing right? Are the eyes moving in the right direction? Looking at the jury a couple of times, he's trying to make a point of, I've never struck a woman. And when he's doing that, he looks over and he says it 3 different times, different types of ways. I believe he's being.
Susan, I'm trying to read your body language because we've got a little bit of an audio issue. So we're not hearing every word that you're saying, and everyone at home, myself, we want to hear those words. So we'll play. Were you saying, I'm trying to interpret what you just said, right? That it seemed truthful to you? You didn't see any indications of deception?
That's correct.
Okay, I think the audio is getting a little better. So let's move on. We've got another piece of Johnny Depp's testimony. This time we will see Johnny Depp, but we'll also see Amber Heard as he's testifying. So I'd love to get your take on both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Let's take a look.
And my hand is on the edge of the bar, like that, you know, leaning over, the fingers like that, and she threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere. And I honestly didn't feel the pain at first at all. I felt no pain whatsoever. What I felt was, I felt heat. I felt heat, and I felt as if something were dripping down my hand, you know. And then I looked down and realized that the tip of my finger had been severed.
Such an important piece of testimony from that case. We want to hear what Susan has to say about it, so we're just fixing the audio momentarily. But what I'm going to do is show you another piece of testimony, this time from Amber Heard, and then by the time we hear this, we should be able to bring Susan back and get her take on what Johnny Depp testified to and then what Amber Heard testified to. Let's take a look.
So much. I felt like he recognized me and I recognized him, and there was just something there that I thought he was the love of my life. And he was. He was, but he was also this other thing. He was also this other thing. And that other thing was awful thing that would come out and take over, and it was, you couldn't see the Johnny I loved underneath it. It was this other thing. And no one told him, no one was honest with him, no one, you know, he'd pass out in his own vomit, he'd lose control of his body, his, you know, he'd lose control, and everyone would clean up after him. I cleaned up after him. I mean, this man lost control of his bowels, and I cleaned up after him. His security cleaned up after him, changed his pants in front of me. He would pass out in his own sick.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix that audio for you folks. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring back in Susan, get her reaction to some of this testimony. Don't go anywhere.
Beat privates and beyond.
Do you recall what Mr. Depp was saying to you when he had the bottle and was pushing it against your pubic bone?
He said, That he kill me. I'll kill you. He said it to me over and over again. He said, I'll kill you.
Important testimony. This is a sexual assault. She is describing to the jury, and at the end, looking at Johnny Depp from Chanley Painter inside the courtroom. One of the only times she looked directly at Johnny Depp. Susan Constantine, human behavior expert, still with us. We've reconnected old-fashioned way by phone. Susan, tell me your thoughts about Amber Heard's testimony right there. It's so significant. She's talking about she's describing a brutal sexual assault right there.
There's a lot that's going on here. When we're talking about this brutal attack, you would expect to see a sense of horror or a sense of fear, taking you kind of back to that moment of where she was being violated. And what I'm looking at is I see a lot of what we call self-loathing. I see her chin pouting up, it wrinkles. It's more of I feel sorry for myself. It's a pouting expression that what I'm seeing from her. The other thing is that when this incident happened, 6-8 years ago, and when somebody has gone through therapy, someone that has maybe gone through EMDR therapy, they learn to kind of normalize those trigger moments. And what happens in this instance, when I'm hearing her recall this, it's as if it were happening right then. But the problem is it's over-exaggerated. So when I'm watching her facial expressions, it's what we call overperforming or overfacing. Now I want you to look at when she was actually hearing this, before her face was very stoic. No expression, no movement, no startled responses, no raising of the eyebrow or pouting. Now she's telling the story, and she's putting it on full steam ahead, and the expressions, the timing, the movement, everything is off. She is in performance here.
All right, let's go. We've got one other moment and this is out of sight of the jury, so they did not see it. They were already gone. Amber's getting off the witness stand. Johnny is standing up, and there's a moment where they seem to have this eye contact. She backs up. We're looking at it now. What does that tell you about her behavior and his behavior in that moment?
Yes, well, this was Amber's what we call startle response. You see her eyes kind of quickly flash up. Her mouth slightly drops down. They make eyes. She realizes he's right in front of her, and then she kind of steps back to get out of the way. But I don't see fear in her facial expressions. It's more what we call a startle response. And then we see Depp. He locks eyes at her. And what he does is really interesting, because as he starts to slightly turn away, he gives her a shoulder gaze, and he's holding it for 2 or 3 seconds. That's a form of, of intimidation. I've heard you. I'm looking at you. She doesn't even make gaze at him whatsoever. And then you see what we call a cheek pucker, and you see this with Depp, and that is a form of exasperation. And then his mouth becomes more stretched, and you see him do kind of a double shoulder shrug. That is a shrill. It's just like, he didn't want to even see her. So, and then he smirks, and there's a form of contempt and duping delight. So there's multiple emotions that are going on there. Smirking is contempt. It's kind of like he makes eye contact with her, and there's a form of arousal that came from that little 2-second, 3-second glance, like, I got you, I'm watching you. So there was a lot of stuff that was going on in that interaction.
And Susan, I just want to go back to Amber Heard. There was a huge question I forgot to ask you about it. So you said over-exaggeration. Is anything that you saw equate to deception, where not telling the truth versus over-exaggeration? Seems to me, when I hear that, I hear it's got a grain of truth in it, but it's not completely truthful. How should we interpret what you're saying?
Thank you so much for asking. All right, so what I'd like to share with you is that that most of what we're hearing is going to be truthful. There's fragments of pieces that are distorted, that are misleading. And what we're seeing here is that over-exaggeration. When a person feels that they're not really convincing someone, they tend to pump it up a bit. They plump it up. So they become more exaggerated. And when they do that, they fall into the deception category. So it's hard to take anything they say as being the full truth because they've had to pump it up and exaggerate it too much to the point of it throws it right into the deception category, so it's not credible.
And are you seeing anything from Johnny Depp's reactions from counsel table as Amber Heard is testifying that is significant?
Well, he doesn't want to make gaze at her. He stonewalls. So that's when he's looking down. He's kind of disengaging from her. He's saying to her, I don't want to give you even an eye glance. I'm not even going to pay attention to you. A lot of times you'll see he'll bring his hand up over. And in fact, at one point when he was talking about a very horrible incident with the bottle, you see him scratching the top of his eye. And his dad is just in disbelief. He's like, I cannot believe she is actually saying this. And then he's got the hand over his face, and that's a form of facial blocking, eye blocking, just kind of blocking out the information he's hearing because it's just too painful to hear, and so he tends to eye block.
Susan Constantine, I'm so glad that we were able to hear you. Your insight is fascinating, and we always appreciate your time. Susan Constantine, human behavior expert, joining us tonight from Orlando. Thanks so much, Susan.
Thank you.